You are listening to Däs Bündesliga, yeah? My son bet me that I wouldn't do the intro like that. And he's learned a valuable lesson about gambling because he now has to owe me money because I'm leaving that intro on the show here on the Lock Betting Podcast feed. Let's break down our selection. I am leaving that on. This is it now. The show started. We are going to cover a selection of games here from the Bundesliga this weekend. We start with a game between Hoffenheim and Borussia Mönchengladbach, where Hoffenheim are the 21-20 favourites. It's 3-1 on the draw, and Gladbach are the 5-2 underdogs. Little bit of value here on Gladbach because if they can get their shit together, they are the better team. They're also higher than Hoffenheim in the table. Hoffenheim have no real strong home field advantage where you say that this is some sort of fortress where Gladbach should be intimidated to go to. But the standout play here has to be on the goals. Neither of these two teams can really defend, and Hoffenheim have gone 14 games without a clean sheet. Borussia Mönchengladbach have gone 3 games without a clean sheet, and 10 games in a row featuring Hoffenheim have seen both teams scoring. 10 games in a row featuring Hoffenheim have seen over 2.5 goals. When these two teams play, there are goals. Borussia Mönchengladbach haven't kept a clean sheet in his fixture in the last 6. Hoffenheim haven't kept a clean sheet in his fixture in the last 8. 4 of the last 5 have seen over 2.5 goals, and 6 out of the last 6 have seen both teams scoring. Obviously, with this kind of data, there isn't much value on both teams to score. It's juiced at 1-2. There isn't too much value on over 2.5 goals. It's juiced also at 1-2. But collectively, I can find some value here. Both teams to score with the over 2.5 goals together gives you the price of 3-4. I actually think there's value there on that line. Cannot see either team keeping a clean sheet, and therefore we would just need the 1 extra goal, something that's happened in each of the last 10 games featuring Hoffenheim. So we put the 2 plays together, and that's your opening selection here on the show. Over 2.5 goals. And both teams to score in the game between Hoffenheim and Borussia Mönchengladbach. Up next, we cover the Berlin derby between Hertha Berlin and Union Berlin, where Union Berlin are the 21-20 away favourites here. It's 9-4 on the draw, and it's 14-5 here on Hertha Berlin. Obviously, Union Berlin are the favourites because they've had a stronger season so far, but as we know, they have started to fade as of late. They have begun to drop down the table. They were top for quite a while, and now they are clinging on for a Champions League fight. Hertha Berlin, they haven't really been good all season long, but this is a derby. Pride is on the line. Suddenly, I feel that statistical data all goes out of the window, and there's a very good chance that Hertha Berlin could get a positive result in this game. I'm going to take Hertha Berlin to avoid a defeat here. Coming into the game, Union Berlin have been dominant here in this fixture. They haven't lost in 5. They have won 4 in a row. Hertha Berlin haven't kept a clean sheet in this fixture in the last 6, but Union Berlin haven't kept a clean sheet in the last 3 in this fixture. And 5 of the last 7 have seen more than 2.5 goals, and 5 of the last 6 have seen both teams scoring. Looking at the more recent records, there should be goals in this game. Both teams have scored in 6 of the last 6 involving Union. Over 2.5 goals, also cashed in 6 of the last 6, with over 2.5 goals in 5 of the last 6 involving Hertha Berlin. So my main lean here would be for Hertha to be able to get a positive result, and for that I would think avoiding a defeat would be a way to go. But I also think it's a game that will feature goals. Over 2.5 goals offers some value up here at 4-6 minus 150, and both teams scoring here is available at 10-11 minus 110. I definitely think Hertha Berlin will be able to find the back of the net here. As I said, this is a play that has cashed in 5 of the last 6 games featuring these two. It's 6 of the last 6 involving Union Berlin, and certainly riding that data is worthwhile at the price of 10-11 minus 110 here for this one. Up next, we'll look at a game here between Bayern Munich and Eintracht Frankfurt, where Bayern are the 1-3 favourites. It's 5-1 in the draw, and it's 8-1 here on Eintracht Frankfurt. Bayern Munich need to get right. They're now being added to the list of teams that haven't looked good since they've come back from the World Cup. To that list, you can add Liverpool, you can add Chelsea, you can add Tottenham, you can add Manchester City, you can add Real Madrid, you can add Paris Saint-Germain, and now you can add Bayern Munich. They've come back and they haven't won a game since the season resumed, although they haven't lost either. They have had 2 draws, but drawing at home to Cologne is a very poor result by Bayern Munich's standards. This isn't really the game where I think they're going to necessarily get right. Against Eintracht Frankfurt over the years, they have struggled. So Eintracht Frankfurt plus 1.5 goals at even money does offer me some value here, given that in order to cash it, you would need Eintracht Frankfurt just to not lose by 2 goals or more. So if Bayern Munich win this game, but they only win by a single goal, you cash. And obviously, if Bayern Munich don't get a positive result here in this game in terms of failing to win, then you definitely cash this selection. Frankfurt have the league's best record as pre-match outsiders this season, where they've won 3, drawn 1, and lost 1 when they've been an underdog. And this Bayern Munich team, as I said, they're looking to find their feet. They haven't had a win since we've come back. Frankfurt are a team who've lost just 1 league away game this season, and they won at Bayern Munich 2-1 last season. The visitors also yet to lose when scoring the opening goal in the league this season, winning 8 and drawing 2. And as we know, Bayern Munich have been susceptible to conceding the opening goals. So I'm going to take a punt here on Eintracht Frankfurt to get something, but we're going to take Eintracht Frankfurt plus 1.5. They don't need to get something for you to cash the bet. They just need to not lose by 2 goals or more. And given the recent form of Bayern Munich, I think there's significant value here in the play, especially given how well Frankfurt are playing as well, and given the fact that Bayern Munich don't really like to play Frankfurt. It hasn't been the best fixture for them over the years, and I think Frankfurt could possibly do something here in this game. And perhaps we could get ourselves a title race, making that 1-20 on Bayern Munich look a little bit silly, because that's the price that they resumed at as the clear favourites to walk the Bundesliga this season. Up next, we jump across to Sunday and we look at a game between Schalke and Cologne. Schalke are down. They are dog shit. There's no way they're going to be staying in the Bundesliga this season. So there's actually value on Cologne as the even money away favourites here. It's 13-5 on the draw, and it's 14-5 here on Schalke. Cologne got themselves a great away result against Bayern Munich last weekend, and I think they'll be able to build on that here. I think this will be a game that has some goals. Both teams have scored in 2/3 of Cologne's away games this season. 8 of the last 10 head-to-head matches between these two teams have actually seen both teams find the net. So Schalke could be good for a goal here. Obviously, we're always looking for something other than just taking a fade against Schalke. Cologne is obviously the easy play, but if you're looking for an alternative, both teams to score could be a way to go. That is available here at 7-10. Or you could take a punt on Cologne to win and both teams to score. That jumps your play up to 3-1. So plus 300 here on a selection that has brilliant data to support it for this one. Up next, we move on to our final game from the Bundesliga slate, and it's a really, really good one. I think it's the game of the weekend. Bayer Leverkusen hosting Borussia Dortmund, where Leverkusen are the 11-8 favourites. It's 11-4 on the draw, and it's 17-10 here on Borussia Dortmund. We finish how we started, and we look at the goals. This is going to be a game that's absolutely full of them. Both sides have enjoyed perfect winning starts to the Bundesliga since we came back from the World Cup, and they'll both fancy their chances of beating each other. But we go for over 2.5 goals, and we go for the both teams to score tacked together. That selection, those two selections collectively bring the price up to 4-5 minus 125, rather than taking a juice on the over 2.5 goals or the juice on both teams to score. 9 of the previous 11 head-to-head encounters have actually produced over 2.5 goals. Bayer Leverkusen haven't kept a clean sheet in this fixture in the last 12. Both teams have scored in this fixture in 5 of the last 6. As for looking at recent data, both teams are in form. Leverkusen have actually won 5 straight games coming into this, and Dortmund have won 4 straight. Leverkusen have seen over 2.5 goals in 5 of their last 7. Borussia Dortmund have seen over 2.5 goals in 9 of their last 10. And both teams have scored in 8 of the last 10 to involve Borussia Dortmund. So let's move on to the lock here on this show. I cannot decide between the first game and the last game. So we're going to give you a rare double lock here on the show. We're going to take over 2.5 goals and both teams to score in both of those games. So the opening game between Hoffenheim and Borussia Mönchengladbach, we go for over 2.5 goals and both teams to score at the price of 3-4. And then we also take it for the final game on Sunday, Bayer Leverkusen, Borussia Dortmund, over 2.5 goals and both teams to score at a slightly better price of 4-5, minus 125 for that one. That's it for this edition of the Bundesliga show. Don't forget to check out all of the additional content this weekend. 2 editions of the Fight Show, Better Biev versus Anthony Yard, and the WWE Royal Rumble goes down this weekend. Those episodes are available now. Then we have our usual episodes of BetMUFC, the EPL show, which this weekend concentrates on the FA Cup, Scommessa Italia, and the European show as well. Don't forget to check everything out. And of course, it's the NFL Conference Championships this weekend. We have a podcast available for that as well. That is actually available here on this Lock Betting feed. That's it from me and this edition of Däs Bundesliga Show. Good luck with all of your bets as always, guys, and thanks for listening.